Tonight, an interview with a survivor of the Deepwater Horizon. His name is Tyrone Benton. He may have been the first person to see signs of a catastrophe in the making. His job was critical, to send down cameras and inspect the well, the rig, the blowout preventers. He was checking for anything unusual. Weeks before the explosion, he says he found it, a cloud in the water. It was a leak, he says. He talked to Special Investigations Unit correspondent Drew Griffin about what he says he saw and what happened after the discovery was made.
Tyrone Benton may well have seen the first sign something was very, very wrong on the Deepwater Horizon.
Did you ever get close enough to the leak to see what exactly was leaking?
Yeah, we flew down to the pod and saw that there was an angular fitting that had a leak on it. What was connected to the angular fitting wasn't able to see, but there was an angular fitting that did have a leak.
It was a fluid leak on one of the two pods. Those are the mechanisms that control the blowout preventer. If they don't work, the blowout preventer doesn't work. A leak, even if only a trickle, is a warning.
Yeah, that is abnormal.
Abnormal enough that you reported it to your company, to Transocean, to BP?
That's correct.
One pod is always working. The other, says University of Texas petroleum engineer Tad Padzik, is designed as its immediate backup.
I don't think that there is any discussion of that basic fact. And the basic fact is that you have to do whatever it takes to fix fully the blowout preventer as soon as you can.
Padzik says the solution is to immediately close off the well, raise the blowout preventer, find out what's wrong, and fix it.
Anything less than that, might have led, or probably led, to a major failure of the well, and the results are well known.
Back on board the Deepwater Horizon, several weeks before the explosion, Tyrone Benton knew he was looking at a potentially dangerous leak, that the BOP, the blowout preventer, was at possible risk for failure.
And it was taken care of?
It wasn't taken care of. In order to take care of it, you have to pull the whole BOP, which will shut down production. Like I said, from my understanding, they just shut down one pod and worked off the other.
Tyrone, 11 people dead?
Yes.
For the better part of a day, the leak was studied, observed, measured. The most prudent course to fix it, says Benton, was ruled out.
And so instead,
they went ahead and shut down that particular pod, the yellow pod, and start working off the other pod.
You liken that to shutting down one engine of a twin-engine plane?
That's correct.
You can do it?
Yes.
But not ideal.
If you have to, then you can, though.
Day after day, says Benton, the fluid leak continued. And day after day, BP and Transocean were notified.
You're the first person that's come forward that I know of that said, we had this problem. It was a leak. Instead of properly fixing the leak, officials from BP and Transocean decided to bypass that leak. It's hard to determine, as you said, whether or not that leak had anything to do with this. Right. But certainly the prudent thing, the most safe thing to do, would have been to pull up that blowout preventer, fix it, and put it back down. Is that not correct?
Yeah, you could look at it that way, yes.
No one listened, and a few weeks later, Tyrone Benton was lying in his bunk on the Deepwater Horizon when the first explosion knocked him out of bed. The second covered him in debris. As he scrambled to find his flashlight, it was pitch black.
Panic on board? Screaming?
Panic, screaming, people jumping overboard. It was completely chaos. And I could hear my supervisor telling everybody, let's go, let's go, let's get in the lifeboats. We gotta go, we gotta go. And he kept his head, he kept his cool. Most of us were just panicking, wanted to go, like, right then. But we had to wait for everybody. So we sat on that rig as long as we possibly could for everyone to be accounted for.
Not everybody was accounted for.
There's a point where you have to say, we have to go. And we made it to that point.
Of the 11 who never made it to the lifeboat, Benton says many were close friends. He's now suing BP and Transocean for for emotional and physical injuries. A BP spokesman wouldn't comment on reports of a leak, but did say BP is determined to get to the bottom of what caused the explosion.
So, Drew, why is Tyrone Benton coming forward now and, I mean, basically thrusting himself into this firestorm?
Yeah, I think you can tell, Anderson, from that interview, he's somewhat reluctantly coming forward. He says he was tracked down by a British newspaper. He gave them one quote a couple of days ago, and his life hasn't been the same. He's very shy in front of the camera, and after that interview told his lawyer, he doesn't want to do this anymore. He doesn't want to do any more interviews. That may have been his last.
Already, at least one of the companies on the rig is challenging what the engineer is saying.
Yeah, British Petroleum, no comment on what he was saying, but Transocean sent us a statement tonight directly challenging Benton, saying that, look, this BOP preventer was tested in the days and the weeks before this event. It checked out okay. Everything was working. They're really not sure what Benton is talking about, but Transocean is also saying that they are continuing to investigate because obviously they don't know yet what went wrong on this rig.
All right, Drew, appreciate it. Drew Griffin tonight. Up next, Lenny Kravitz on the spill, the Big 360 interview, and the life of New Orleans. We'll be right back. Quick update on the CNN telethon last night for the Gulf oil spill. A big success. As of right now, more than $1.8 million was raised. All the donations going to three groups: the United Way, the Nature Conservancy, and National Wildlife Federation. Lenny Kravitz took part in the telethon. The Grammy Award-winning artist who has a long connection to New Orleans joins me now for the Big 360 interview. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
You have a house down here. You've been living here for like 17 years.
I've had a house here for 17 years. Yes, the first home I ever purchased.
And you have already, early on, you performed at a concert to benefit folks in the spill.
Yeah, we had the concert that was Gulf Aid, and it was a quick reaction. It was about 2 weeks afterwards, and it was put together in a matter of days, and we raised some good money.
And now there's a song you put on that's on iTunes that you did with Mos Def and a bunch of people.
That was a collaboration with Preservation Hall Jazz Band, with Mos Def and myself, Trombone Shorty.
What's the song? How can people?
It's called Ain't My Fault, and it's on iTunes, and the money goes to Gulf Aid, and it's $1 in, $1 out. So the money that's given is given out.
Well, one of the things that we've been trying to get across in this program is that, you know, a lot of places are not affected by this spill yet. I mean, the beaches in Mississippi and Florida and a lot of places in Alabama, and that the life in New Orleans is still as strong as ever. I mean, I was talking to someone at the hotel who said that a person had called up and canceled their honeymoon here because they thought, you know, somehow New Orleans was affected and was ruined.
Well, this is obviously a horrible, horrible spill, but, you know, there isn't oil, you know, going down the streets. You know, people think that the place is a mess and that they shouldn't come here. And this place is jumping, it's thriving. I mean, I'm out every night, I'm listening to music, I'm on Frenchman.
Are you just waking up?
I was out late last night. You know, I'm really inspired by this city, and it's a great place.
There really is no place like it in America. I mean, for those who haven't been here, it's hard to kind of describe, but just the vibrancy of the life here, whether you're involved in music or food or just walking the streets, it's really an extraordinary place.
You can't find this anywhere in America or anywhere in the world, really. It reminds me of what my parents always told me that it was like in New York City when you'd, you know, go down one street and you'd go see Miles Davis, and then you'd go see Charlie Parker, you'd go see this one, that one, and you know, I was on Frenchman the other night. We went
Frenchman Street is a street in the Marinade, which has a lot of great clubs.
Amazing music.
Right.
There were
The
brass bands.
My favorite.
That's your spot. There were bands on the street playing, people in the street dancing.
There's a band that plays on the corner on that street.
That's
right. So
right.
great, and like,
they're amazing.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. People just kind of gather around and listen to them for the longest time. It's great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, we went to go see 2 or 3 brass bands, great little blues bands in a small bar. I mean, the whole street is just music, and that's still going. The food's great, the vibe is great, the architecture is great. This is a great city, and it's a place that people need to know that they still need to come.
Yeah, and
they should come. They're going to enjoy it.
Seafood is still totally edible. I eat it every single day here. I just had
the seafood's great. It is diminishing.
It's harder to get oysters.
Last night we went to Irene's, which is a great, great local restaurant, and she served us oysters and said, you know, enjoy these. You know, we're not getting them like we used to. You know, and it's diminishing.
Yeah.
But it's here. It's clean. It's healthy. No one's getting sick.
Yeah. I appreciate all you're doing for the city.
It's my pleasure, and all you're doing, bro. You're representing the city in a beautiful way.
Trying.
Thank you, man.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Lenny Kravitz. Breaking news at the top of the hour about America's top general in Afghanistan.